This video will help us understand how we can use the IFERROR function to handle exceptions. So we have the same example over here where we have marked each transaction as high or low using the if function. But then if we have to handle errors, there have to be some errors within our worksheet. So basically there are no errors here, but we can quickly identify that there is some issue with this calculation. Why does it show as high? Because there are no numbers over here for the revenue, it's some piece of text, so it should have returned an error, right? So if we don't have any errors, where do we apply the IFERROR function? So the first thing that we need to do is to ensure that we get an error if there is no number in this particular column, right? So what we do over here is we will apply the value function and wrap it around the revenue. So we had learned about the revenue function, the value function, that it can convert any piece of text into a number. So if it cannot convert a text into a number, it should ideally return an error. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to wrap the value function around the revenue, right? So that's what we're going to do. We'll run the function now, and that's how we get an error, right? So what it has done is it has tried to convert these blocks of text into numbers, which it couldn't do, and now it has returned an error, right? So the first stage is done. So we have got an error into our formula. So now at least it shows correctly. So if I filter the values, I get high, low, and then I get an error. So I know that there is some issue with the transactions there, right? But then I also don't want to have these value errors within my spreadsheet. So I need to have a better way of handling it. Okay, so before I combine any more functions within this, we'll just see a small little demo of how the IFERROR function can actually work. So we'll just see that. So I'm just going to use the IFERROR function, and then I'm going to select this particular cell. So it's going to check whether that particular cell or that formula has an error. If it has an error, then I can comma separate a value over there. So I can just say invalid, and I will execute this, and there you go. So you get the value invalid there, correct? So because it finds that there is an error. So that is how the function is written. So now let's wrap the IFERROR function around our if statement here. So what we'll do is we will apply the IFERROR function and wrap it around the if function that we have written earlier, and then let's comma separate it with invalid. Okay, let's do that. Now if I execute it, I get it perfectly done. So now wherever we have text within our revenue column, it shows as invalid. So that works perfectly for the filter as well. So I get to know if there are any issues within the transaction.